Hi, it's good to be with you again. Hope you're keeping well. Over the weekend, we had such beautiful weather. I don't know whether you were out walking and enjoying the countryside. And as you were out and about on your walk, whether you noticed the abundance of berries, particularly blackberries that there seems to be around at the moment. And as you walk around, you may have noticed the harvest being gathered in. We often go to Stowe, and as you walk down the road into the main gardens, there's a field on the right hand side which had a huge crop of oats in it the other week. Well, we went there just recently and we noticed that those oats have been gathered in. And many crops are being gathered in at the moment, because this is when we would celebrate harvest. You would be bringing gifts of food to school, and we'd be gathering food in our churches, bringing our offerings of thanks to God for all the wonderful things that God gives us to enjoy, to eat. This year, one of the themes for Harvest is saying thank you, not just to God, but thank you to our farmers. All through lockdown, we, on a Thursday evening at 8 o'clock, we would often go out onto our doorsteps and clap for carers to show that we appreciated all that they were doing for us. And at the same time, the farmers were working hard to bring us the food that we need, to bring us our daily bread. You only had to go into some of the supermarkets to see some of the shelves bare of bread or flour and pasta. And the farmers and the food producers were working round the clock to bring us the food that we need. And so this harvest is an extra special time for us to give thanks. So I'm going to share my screen so we can share some pictures. So it's about saying thank you to our farmers. Thank you to those who provide us with the food we need each day. Some of our basic food is bread. I love just fresh, crusty bread. And in church, we would often have a harvest loaf, something, a bread symbolizing where our bread has come from, the sheaf of wheat that the farmers have harvested, that goes to the mill to be turned into flour for us to enjoy as bread, or even to bake into cakes. Bread is a staple for us. And often we just think, oh, we just can pop to the supermarkets and buy it and it'll be there. But as we've learned this year, it's not just there all the time. Someone has to produce it. Someone has to grow the crops, to nurture those crops, to manufacture the corn, to grind the corn into flour, which can then be turned into bread, the bread that we enjoy. And often we take the people involved in the planting, the growing, the harvesting, the milling, the baking, we take those people for granted. But at harvest is our opportunity to say thank you to those people. And it's important that we do say thank you. And at the same time, we say thank you to God for the skills of the farmers, of the millers, of the bakers. We say thank you to God for sending the wind, the rain, the sunshine, and helping the crops to grow. And we say thank you to God for the abundance of food that we get to enjoy. Bread appears quite a lot in the Bible. The prayer that Jesus taught us talks about asking for our daily bread. Give us today our daily bread. And there's some stories about how Jesus used bread. And one of the most famous stories is the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus had been teaching the people on the beach. He'd been there all day and he decided he needed to go away. So he got in a boat and they sailed across to the other side of the lake. The people saw where he was going and they wandered there themselves. And so by the time Jesus got ashore, a huge crowd had gathered in the wilderness, eager to hear his words again. Well, as it was becoming evening time and getting late, Jesus knew that the people were hungry. So he said to his friends, the disciples, he said, "Get the people to sit down because we need to feed them." Well, the disciples couldn't work out what was going on. They said to him, "We don't have enough money to feed all these people." He said, "Trust me." What have we got? Well, they searched around and there a boy had got 5 loaves and 3 fish. So they brought it to Jesus. And Jesus said, "Thank you." He said, "Thank you to God for the bread and for the fish." And he broke the bread. And he told his friends to go and share it amongst the crowd. Well, a miracle happened that day. The crowd was satisfied. Their hunger was more than satisfied, eating the bread and the fish. And they were able to, when they'd had their fill, the disciples, Jesus' friends, were able to gather up all the remains. And there were 12 baskets of bread left over. How could this be? There were more than 5,000 people there and everyone had eaten. And all Jesus had done was taken the 5 loaves and the 3 fish and gave thanks to God for them. It's a story of one of the miracles that Jesus performed. But it shows us the generosity of God and how generous God is. He doesn't just give us enough for what we need. God gives us more than we need, more than enough. And the joy of it, well, is that we get to share. We get to share what we have with others. Now, I don't know what you're doing in school this year for Harvest, but my guess is that you may be bringing some of your gifts in to share with those people in Milton Keynes who don't have very much. by bringing your gifts for the food bank. And as you do so, you're saying, this is what I have and I want to share. I have more than enough and I'm going to share what I have with those who don't have very much. Because I'm thankful. I'm thankful for what I have. And so we come and we say thank you to God. But also today, we say thank you to those who produce the food and allow us to have our daily bread. So we say thank you to our farmers. So let us think for a moment about what we had, what we've enjoyed today, what food we've enjoyed today. Think about those who grew that food, who harvested that food, who turned it into what we had to eat, whether it was cereal or bread or cheese or jam. And let us give thanks for all those, from the farmers to the shopkeepers and shop workers. Let us give thanks for all those involved in bringing us our daily bread, our daily food. Loving God, we thank you. We thank you for the farmers, for the shopkeepers, for the manufacturers, for the hauliers, for all who bring us our daily bread. Help us to be always grateful and to always remember to say thank you to you and those who bring us our food. Amen. Well, I hope you have a great week and enjoy all the food that you get to enjoy. And I hope you remember to say thank you as well. Have a great harvest, and I'll see you soon.